Tonight, the unprecedented police crackdown on gatherings of more than 10 people. Holiday plans dashed, South Australians asked to stay at home for Easter. Some of Australia's biggest retail names closed their doors in a bid to beat the virus. More cruise ship chaos, passengers arriving home allowed to leave unchecked. The British PM now governing from home after testing positive. And the AFL confident it can save all 18 clubs from going under.
7 News with Jessica Adamson.
Good evening. South Australians caught breaking self-isolation rules face $1,000 fines as authorities ramp up their coronavirus crackdown. Another 30 cases of COVID-19 have been identified in South Australia, bringing the total number of people infected to 287. In a drastic move, police here are now cracking down on gatherings of more than 10 people. Mark Mooney begins our coverage.
Like a scene from summer, a sea of swimmers and surfers take to the water at Middleton. Proof the message still isn't sinking in.
I think a lot more people will be also going down for the fact that it might be not an option in the future.
Despite pleas from health authorities to stay home, many can't help themselves. From Henley and Glenelg to Waipinga and Selix, a warm Saturday afternoon was simply too good to ignore.
Trying to enjoy a bit of weather while we've got the lovely sun out and do some exercise.
Not as bad as Bondi, but concerning enough for authorities here to act, enforcing an unprecedented ban on gatherings of more than 10 people anywhere in South Australia.
There's no point in staying away from a cafe if people are just having large parties at home.
And fearing self-isolation orders are being ignored, police now have the power to hand out on-the-spot fines. $1,000 for an individual caught breaking the law, $5,000 for a business.
People who do not comply will be facing an immediate penalty.
Getting away with it just got a whole lot harder too, with police patrols now backed up by the Army knocking on more doors.
To ensure people who choose not to do the right thing can be held accountable for their behaviours.
But he admits policing banned gatherings will be complicated. There are exceptions.
Family members can gather together, so that becomes a bit of a challenge for police officers.
And exemptions. Racing SAs allowed to continue holding meetings like today's at Morphettville for now.
And our investigation team will be paying attention to those events to ensure they are complying with the undertakings they've made.
The government says there are no plans to follow the lead of interstate authorities and close our beaches altogether. Instead, it'll be relying on the public to do the right thing, and there will be plenty of police around to make sure they do.
These are extraordinary restrictions.
In the most extraordinary times. Mark Mooney, 7 News.
And SA Health has issued an urgent warning for people who ate at several restaurants after members of a Swiss tour group tested positive for coronavirus after returning home. Tim Hatfield joins us. Tim, what are the details?
Well, Jess, the tourists started showing symptoms just as they left South Australia and tested positive for COVID-19 when they returned to Switzerland. SA Health is now asking anybody who ate at 3 eateries, 1 in the Barossa and 2 in the southeast, at these specific times to self-isolate immediately. They are Calabria Family Wines in the Barossa on March 14th between 12 and 4 p.m. Holic Estates in Penola between 1:30 and 3:30 in the afternoon on the following day, and that evening at the Barnes Steakhouse in Mount Gambier.
If they were at these particular venues, we're very keen if people do develop symptoms that they come forward and get tested.
And of the state's 287 confirmed cases of coronavirus, 5 people are now currently in intensive care. And there has been some good news. A 53-year-old woman's condition has improved and she's no longer being treated in the ICU, Jess.
Thanks, Tim. Rethink your Easter holiday plans. That's the message from the Premier as several caravan parks and camping grounds closed to travellers. In the southeast, Kingston is already deserted after a local student tested positive to COVID-19.
Terrified about the spread of coronavirus, this morning specialised cleaners from Adelaide arrived at Kingston Community School to begin a thorough clean. It closed its doors after a 10-year-old student tested positive on Thursday. Since then, with many parents self-isolating too, Kingston's been a ghost town.
You'd fire a shotgun up the main street and not hit anyone.
Social distancing restrictions have closed the RV park. Last night, our 7 News crew were the only guests at the local motel.
It's devastating, frustrating, but we're just going to have to hang in there and ride the storm.
And Easter holidays won't help. This year, travellers are being urged to steer clear of all holiday destinations, including Kangaroo Island, where there's concern cruise ship passengers caught up in the coronavirus scare may have visited.
We're really asking people in South Australia to rethink their Easter holiday plans.
Today, police were quizzing drivers at a roadblock at Meningie, ready to order anyone returning from interstate into quarantine. And if you're planning to self-isolate on a camping trip this Easter, that could be in doubt too. The virus has prompted the state government to close all camping grounds within national parks, including several here on the Coorong. On the Fleurieu Peninsula, the local councils are banding together, hoping to protect their constituents.
We've got a substantial number of elderly residents who have retired down here, and they're the most vulnerable in our community. We've been hearing that loud and clear, so we need to do the right thing by them.
Please don't come down here for your holidays. The Easter egg hunt has been cancelled. The horse-drawn tram isn't working. Our Visitors Information Centre is closed.
They hope they can welcome holidaymakers with open arms by Christmas. Andrea Nicholas, 7 News.
Australia's best-known retailers will close their doors and stand down thousands of staff in a radical attempt to survive the coronavirus outbreak. Myer, Country Road and Witchery are among the big names closing or going online only.
As the streets become empty, so too the retail stores, with more staff than customers.
They are spending more on wages than they are actually receiving through their tills at the moment.
With discretionary spending down 75%, casualties are popping up. Myer announcing its 60 stores will shut tomorrow for at least a month. 10,000 jobs gone. The CEO admitting the spread of coronavirus has forced one of the toughest decisions this company has faced in its 120 years.
Those retailers are very, very concerned about their staff catching the coronavirus.
They're getting hit on all fronts. That is why there needs to be the support.
Last-minute shoppers raced through the doors.
I understand that people are trying to stay safe. It won't kill us not to go shopping for a month.
While today it's lights out for others too, including Country Road, Just Cuts, Cotton On, Witchery, Q, Seed and Sunglass Hut. The closures will rip about $16 billion from the retail sector in just 1 month. And even if there were customers, store owners say they don't want to put the health of their staff at risk. Supermarkets, though, are booming with panic buying at an all-time high. Coles announcing it's in the process of employing 12,000 new staff.
They're coming from hospitality, they're coming from tourism, they're coming from the airlines. They're coming from high-level customer service industries, and they're ready to work, and we're ready to make them employed again quickly.
More cruise ship passengers have arrived overnight, allowed to head home as hundreds of others rebel against squalid quarantine conditions in a Sydney hotel. Officials were again unable to explain why some were allowed back into the community and not others.
You need to go back in your room.
Reading the Riot Act, police warning cruise ship passengers in a lockdown.
You will get a fine, so you need to stay in your room.
Welcome to the quarantine hotel from hell.
So I'm happy to go downstairs and get arrested.
300 passengers from the Norwegian Jewel cruise ship locked inside their rooms.
The conditions are just appalling. And we've got no cleaning products.
To keep the two kids entertained all day, we've only got a deck of cards.
There are armed guards on every floor.
An ambulance today transported a woman to hospital for an undisclosed condition. The other guests are not allowed even into the corridors to exercise, facing another 11 long days in isolation.
Sarah and her other 8 family members are quarantined across 3 separate rooms in this hotel, along with all the other passengers brought here 3 days ago. What they want to know is why other passengers who've returned from other cruises were allowed to return home. Well, they're stuck here. When we asked why, the Premier ducked the question.
Yeah, sure. I'll get Commissioner Fuller to explain that.
Others who may be considered higher risk because they've come off a cruise ship are offered accommodation.
Joining the quarantine queue early this morning with little social distancing, 2 new shiploads of cruise ship passengers. greeted at Sydney Airport with police reinforcements.
We had a group that we knew we were coronavirus free. We had documentation that we were coronavirus free because we've all been in Antarctica for several weeks.
We had so much stress, anxiety and even anger, but the worst of it all is fear.
Those living within a 20-minute drive were told they could go home to self-isolate, leaving those there to greet loved ones in limbo.
Police have told me that I can't drive her home and that she can only get a taxi if she leaves within 20 minutes.
Others sent to another hotel in Pyrmont.
And now it's possible that we will be self-isolating here for 14 days and then another 14 days when we get to Adelaide.
More than 40,000 people over the last 2 weeks alone have come through the airport without proper screening, testing or security.
This crew member was today brought to shore from the infamous Ruby Princess, which offloaded 2,700 exposed passengers last week. The Premier's office claiming he has a medical issue unrelated to the virus.
Adelaide Airport's fast becoming a plane graveyard, with Qantas and Virgin grounding the majority of their fleets. Around 12 passenger aircraft will be stationed in the long-term car park indefinitely. Private hospitals say without immediate assistance, many will close just as the country needs them most. They've warned the Prime Minister and Premiers have just 24 hours to help them pay staff.
Intensive care beds, the COVID-19 front line abroad. It's where many fear the virus will overwhelm Australian healthcare within weeks. No, say the government's key medical advisors, our ICUs are ready.
We have doubled the capacity there and there are beds available right now with ventilators right now.
Yet private hospitals claim the government is about to inadvertently shut down up to a third of all intensive care beds, with elective surgery largely delayed. Private hospitals say they need government support now to pay staff.
Tomorrow night, or hospitals will start to close next week. It's got to be solved this weekend.
National Cabinet meets tomorrow. The Prime Minister and Premiers talking again as pressure builds to order a more profound, rapid lockdown. Prime Minister Morrison is believed to have resisted pressure from Victoria and New South Wales for a deeper shutdown. He argues whatever measures we introduce, we need to be prepared to live with for at least 6 months.
I don't think that's the case at all. A lockdown can probably be as short as 4 weeks.
Others back the Prime Minister's caution.
As soon as the lockdown is lifted, there is the risk that the virus would just start spreading again.
This as the government adds to its $715 million aviation support package, today announcing $198 million for regional airlines to offset running costs. Tim Lester, 7 News.
Most of Australia is trying to practice common sense, but caution was thrown out the window in Queensland today. The state stood firm in its decision to host local council elections, despite desperate pleas from the public to postpone the polls. While some braved the queues, many took to social media saying they'd rather cop a fine than put their health at risk. Taxi drivers across the state say they're on the brink of collapse. Recent travel bans, along with hospitality shutdowns, have all but brought their work to a halt.
It's created a lot of hardship, a lot of worry for all of our operators, our drivers, owners, our networks. It's a hard pill to take.
They're pleading with the state government to reduce their fees, with many paying more than $4,000 each. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is tonight governing via video link from self-isolation after testing positive to coronavirus. The UK is expecting a surge in cases in the coming weeks, and the forecast is dire.
Boris Johnson alone to video his own coronavirus confession.
I've taken a test that has come out positive, so I am working from home, I'm self-isolating.
He started experiencing mild symptoms less than 24 hours before, a temperature and a cough. He stood a few metres from the Chancellor to applaud health workers. 4 hours later, the result came through.
The virus does not discriminate. We are all at risk.
The news sent his key advisor, Dominic Cummings, running from Downing Street. Earlier this month, the British Prime Minister was in a jocular mood about the threat of the virus.
I'm shaking hands continuously. I was at a hospital the other night where I think there were actually a few coronavirus patients, and I shook hands with everybody.
He last met the Queen on March 11. The palace saying Her Majesty is following all the appropriate advice with regards to her welfare, but won't say whether the monarch has herself been tested. COVID-19 has now struck at the heart of the British government's response to the virus. England's chief medical officer is self-isolating with symptoms. The health secretary has also tested positive.
So I'll be self-isolating here until next Thursday.
Boris Johnson is isolating in his flat, which is actually above 11 Downing Street. Staff will leave food and government papers at an internal door. His pregnant partner, Carrie Simmons, moved out into self-isolation herself a few days ago. As Britain prepares for a peak in patients in the coming weeks, convention centres will be turned into field hospitals in Manchester and Birmingham, and the airport there will become a temporary mortuary with space for 12,000 bodies. In London, Hugh Whitfield, 7 News.
And Hugh joins us live now from London. Hugh, it's looking really grim there.
Jess, 181 people have died from coronavirus in Britain in the last 24 hours, the worst day here so far. Italy has also just experienced its deadliest 24-hour period. 919 people dead in a day. They're nearly 3 weeks into the lockdown there, the virus now taking hold in the south of the country. In France, a 16-year-old girl has become that country's youngest victim. Her mother's saying she had no underlying health conditions. The Eiffel Tower was lit up to say merci to French health workers. And back here, the changes to British life continue. Trooping the colour, the annual celebration of the Queen's birthday will not go ahead in its traditional form, according to the palace. A number of other options are being considered. Jess.
Thanks, Hugh. Among the first to be affected by the new strict quarantine measures are Australians returning from the United States. Options to get home from the land of the free are now limited, with the last Qantas flight out of LA just departing.
An 11th-hour dash.
Time to go home.
Stranded Australians race to board the Flying Kangaroo's last hop home from the United States.
Come home and be closer to our family where it is safer.
Fleeing a rising tide of infection as the US becomes the first country to reach 100,000 cases.
We appreciate what needs to be done to get clear of this and get on the other side of it.
As those who could moved out, the military moved in. Navy ship Mercy on a Mercy mission, the world's largest medical vessel, docking in Los Angeles, where it immediately became the city's largest hospital. Within days, it will host 1,000 non-COVID patients. The Mercy is one of 2 US Navy hospital ships being used to address the crisis. The President will tomorrow farewell the Comfort, which will be docked off New York from next week. 7 News today toured a Manhattan field hospital set up inside a convention centre in just days.
I applaud you guys.
They're already asking for 4 more like it.
We kick coronavirus ass.
His empty city now filled with light, music, and applause. Gratitude for frontline staff and financial help finally on the way.
We can't chicken out at this point.
The President signing into law the biggest stimulus package in US history.
But I wanted that to be a nice signature.
In Los Angeles, Amelia Brace, 7 News.
Those surging numbers in the US saw Wall Street take a dive before closing. The Dow ending more than 900 points, or 4.1% down, snapping a 3-day winning streak on the market. But the week on the whole has seen one of the most dramatic rebounds in decades, rising 13% by close of trade despite that last-minute fall. More on COVID-19 later in the news, and the latest will bring you any developments after 7 p.m. Then our next local bulletin is at 10:30 tonight. Ahead on 7 News, a car bursts into flames after slamming into a tree at Birdwood. Also, the hunt for a firebug who lit a blaze in a northern suburbs billiard hall. The world unites to test multiple drugs in the fight against coronavirus. And later, the Outback art installations brought to life with sound and light.
Hi, I'm Ben Cousins. It's been 10 years since I've spoken publicly.
Is this your last chance?
I've stuffed things up.
Can you tell me 100% you're not using drugs anymore?
The most shocking is still to come when Ben Cousins comes clean. Sunday on 7.
If you're in business in Australia, right now you're facing one of your toughest challenges. It's not business as usual, and it's hard to know where to turn. Business Australia can help you manage your responsibilities to your employees, look after their health and well-being, and assist with strategies to maintain and sustain your business. We've been helping Australian businesses through thick and thin for 194 years, and we're here for you now. For free advice and support, visit businessaustralia.com.
Reason. From the moment we're born, we're conditioned to find it. Why does it feel good to dance? Why are we drawn to the water? We're consumed by a need for explanation. But some things just defy rational sense. When you move beyond what's known and into what's felt, you don't need a reason. The two Grand Coupe are cars.
I was a heavy smoker. I mean, I smoked a pack a day. And depending on what I was doing, sometimes a pack and a half a day. You don't realise till you quit how bad you were, I think. And that's the main thing.
The Nick Scali Autumn Sale extended for 1 week only. Prices have fallen on quality furniture up to half price. The Nick Scali Autumn Sale must end this Sunday.
Our health insurance is going up on April 1st.
Enter the Belusionist.
Whoa!
Is that your bill?
No, this one's smaller.
Compare, select and save with iSelect on 13, 19, 20. Where will you get Tab's 42 days of deals? Over brekkie? While you wait? While you watch? Wherever you are this autumn, get Tab's 42 days of deals across racing and sport. Tab, long may we play.
Gamble responsibly.
A Farquhar kitchen is where the latest innovations, quality craftsmanship and good times come together. Farquhar, bringing family and friends together.
At Barbecues Galore, we've got a huge range of wood heaters to keep you cosy this winter. With traditional styles, modern sleek design and up to 15 years warranty, there's something to suit every room. Come into Barbecues Galore, the home of wood heating.
There are 2 ways to make a mattress. The cheap way, 1-piece, single-sided with attached pillow top made out of foam. Yes, Mr. Harvey, they should be 50% off. The best way, 2-piece, double-sided, removable pillow top with thousands of microcoils and a 5-year comfort promise. Sorry, Mr. Harvey, we make them, you don't.
The Bellissimo mattress, made like no other mattress. Making mattresses, nobody makes a better mattress. Nobody.
Everybody's free to feel good. Everybody's free to feel good.
Staying in is the new going out. Check out these new movie releases such as Hustlers, Joker, Replicas, 21 Bridges, and The Queen's Corgi. Available now to rent or buy online.
To a developing story now, and there's been a serious crash near Birdwood in the Adelaide Hills. Reporter Lauren Rose is there. Lauren, what's the latest?
Jess, police and paramedics were called to this straight stretch of Onkaparinga Valley Road just after 3:30 this afternoon. A car had hit a tree, then careered into another tree and burst into flames just south of Birdwood. The vehicle is now unrecognisable. It's understood the driver was the sole occupant of that car, but police are yet to give an update on that person's condition. Onkaparinga Valley Road is currently closed between Mullers Road and Burford Hill Road, with motorists urged to avoid the area. Now, major crash investigators are expected to be here for hours yet as they try to piece together exactly what's happened. Jess?
Thanks, Lauren. Police are hunting an arsonist who set fire to a billiard hall at Mansfield Park. Fire crews were called to the Grand Junction Road business just after 2:30 this morning after flames started billowing from the building. Officers believe the culprit broke in through a window. A teenage girl's had a nasty fall at a northern suburbs horse riding school. The 13-year-old was knocked unconscious after she fell from her mount on a property near Gawler. She was taken to the Women's and Children's Hospital to be monitored for concussion. The first patient has begun a new global solidarity trial. It's taking place in Norway and virus-ravaged Spain, with 45 countries and counting signing on. The trial will compare 4 different drugs and drug combinations in the race to stop COVID-19.
This is a historic trial which will dramatically cut the time needed to generate robust evidence about what drugs work.
In the meantime, health officials are warning about taking unproven drugs to treat coronavirus. The pictures are pretty haunting. A lonely Pope delivering a special blessing to an empty St Peter's Square in the rain. He urged Catholics around the world to ease their fears through faith, describing the coronavirus tempest, which he says has left us afraid and lost. The Ubi et Orbi blessing is a ritual usually given at Easter and Christmas. Time now to check in with Bruce on what's coming up in sport.
Jess, it looks like the AFL and the players have struck a pay deal. That's good news. That's not the case north of the Murray. The NRL, which is far more in trouble than the AFL, they are still yet to get something done. Also coming up tonight, there was supposed to be a showdown, so we'll have a look back at a classic just to try and keep the footy diet up. And corona concerns for the Reds after a Newcastle player comes up positive. All that and a bit more coming up later.
Look forward to it. Thanks, Bruce. Still to come on 7 News, the small Adelaide businesses finding new ways to keep their doors open. Construction workers and employers pull together to save the building industry. Also, one of the nation's biggest brewers gets into the hand sanitizer business. And Tim Noonan has gathered together some inspirational acts of kindness.
I would love to see Queensland represented by someone who can actually win.
In 8 days, do these Queenslanders have what it takes to become House Rules champions? Television's most inspiring home reveals.
I shall be moving in.
House Rules High Stakes starts next Sunday on 7.
Introducing the all-new Palmy Classics range at Subway. Chicken palmy with rich marinara sauce, chicken and ham palmy with smoked leg ham, and the chicken and pepperoni palmy, all topped with double melty mozzarella cheese. Grab a palmy today at Subway.
Stop here. Are you sure?
Still saving for a deposit? Build with Weeks and get into a new home sooner. Check out the Fusion series. With homes starting from just $150K, you'll get more with Weeks.
Today, as we work to stay fit and healthy, and medical science continues to explore new ways to save our lives, it's gold nanoparticle cancer research that offers new hope for the future. There's more to Australian mining.
The Nick Scali Autumn Sale extended for 1 week only. Prices have fallen on quality furniture up to half price. The Nick Scali Autumn Sale must end this Sunday.
Here's to the quitters. He's a quitter. So is she. And her. That's right. They, along with thousands of other Australians, have quit smoking thanks to the help of Nicorette Quick Mist. It starts to relieve cravings from 30 seconds, making you 2.5 times more likely to quit. Let's do something amazing. Get Nicorette Quick Mist for a great price at Chemist Warehouse.
Everything you love about a Subaru meets the effortless efficiency of hybrid. Introducing the self-charging hybrid, the next generation of Subaru.
Charge!
If you could see flu or coronavirus, you'd see how easily it spreads, but we can take steps to stop it. Stay away from others when you're sick. Cover your coughs and sneezes. Wash your hands and wipe down surfaces. Let's stop the spread.
Fancy a new flavour this refill?
Murray River salted caramel.
New Tim Tam crafted collection. What more could you wish for?
The Nick Scali Autumn Sale extended for 1 week only. Prices have fallen on quality furniture up to half price. The Nick Scali Autumn Sale must end this Sunday.
Lunch money?
Hey Sarah, I love what you're doing with your hair. she got highlights.
Introducing the all-new Palmy Classics range at Subway. Chicken palmy with rich marinara sauce, chicken and ham palmy with smoked leg ham, and the chicken and pepperoni palmy, all topped with double melty mozzarella cheese. Grab a palmy today at Subway.
Businesses across the suburbs are scrambling to adjust to strict social distancing rules. Some say it's near impossible, but the risk of a hefty fine has them desperate to make it work.
Small business employees have always worked side by side, but not anymore.
We're all keeping our distance.
Staff at Chicken Plus are making room, keeping a distance of 1.5 metres at all times.
Tried to do our best to separate each employee into a certain section of the business, so that way we're not crossing over each other's path.
It's even tougher for those working in small spaces, like the butchers at Welland Plaza.
We're moving past each other, so it is hard when it's a small cabinet, but we're doing our best.
Cafes and greengrocers are thinking on their feet too.
We have had to just sort of spread each other out, but it's really not practical at this point.
We are trying to share the load with our staff, just everyone doing a little bit at a time.
At the port, maritime workers are finding it almost impossible.
Particularly when you're unhooking cranes or you're lashing containers on a vessel. Workers are coming up with the ideas around self-isolation, social distancing, how to best work.
But finding the space is vital to avoid a devastating $5,000 fine.
It's a bit scary. We just got to do it. We just got to try our hardest and just keep remembering to keep doing it.
Businesses are doing everything they can to abide by the new laws. Here at Cafe de Ville, staff have been assigned to separate stations and customers have to queue at the marked signs.
It is what it is.
Callum McPherson, 7 News.
The building industry wants to be classified as an essential service to avoid construction sites shutting down under Stage 3 restrictions. The crisis has led to a rare agreement between employers and the union to save the jobs of more than 1 million workers.
Usually, so much on construction sites is about teamwork. But despite increasing community concerns, the industry insists it can impose social distancing.
There are typically lots of workers who move around and with the proper awareness and monitoring can socially distance appropriately.
Strict new building site rules now stipulate 2-metre gaps between workers, staggered starting times and staggered breaks, break rooms constantly wiped down and cleaned, triggering rare agreement between the bosses and the construction union's most controversial leader.
They absolutely should be adhering to those guidelines, and if they can't, then they should be closed down.
If we thought for a moment it was unsafe, we'd shut it down ourselves. I mean, we've paid millions of dollars in fines for shutting down sites over safety, so I mean, we wouldn't hesitate for a moment.
The industry argues it must be excluded from any lockdown because it's essential. Here, construction on a hospital. Here, on a pharmaceutical warehouse.
So these products are used not just obviously for these difficult times with the coronavirus, but also more broadly in the market for all of the communities.
And the construction industry is also essential economically. Around Australia, it's responsible for the employment of more than 1.1 million people.
If our industry were to close, that would have a devastating and long-lasting effect on our economy.
Nick McCallum, 7 News.
Stunning acts of kindness are continuing to light up the lives of those doing it tough. One generous man has brightened a Centrelink queue by handing out free cash.
They can't believe their luck. A smiling man moves amongst an Adelaide Centrelink queue, handing out $20 notes.
You're a legend, mate.
You want $20? There you go. Pass it on.
Thank you.
You guys.
That's so beautiful.
And it's catching on. Perth pensioner Joan Smothers was down to her last $16. Imagine her surprise finding $100 in an envelope left anonymously.
When I opened it, I just burst into tears. I was just gobsmacked.
It was a huge day for Sam in Fairview Park. His 3rd birthday shared in isolation.
Hooray!
Happy birthday, Sam. You may have noticed a bit of a traffic build-up in Athelstone today. It was a drive-by for Diego's big day, his 6th birthday. And the Wiggles have found the fun in self-isolation. And what mask shortage? Not if you've got a towel and 2 rubber bands.
Then you fold this side to the middle.
With a helping hand from Mum, 8-year-old Alex in Stirling's showing the world how. A bit of corona creativity and kindness will get us through. Tim Noonan, 7 News.
Sure will. Well done, Alex, and everyone else there. A beer company is donating 20,000 litres of hand sanitizer to frontline medical staff. Carlton and United Breweries is teaming up with hygiene company Ecolab to produce and deliver more than 40,000 bottles to health workers.
We saw making hand sanitizer and donating it to hospitals, nurses and other medical staff as an important way that we could contribute to fighting this pandemic.
Another 10,000 litres is being donated to people in need. Time for sport now, and Bruce, the AFL is on the same page now.
Just the league and the players, they've got an agreement, and I think the gravity of the situation and maybe a quick economics lesson may have got them all heading in the right direction together for the future, and that's good news. Also coming up in sport, more Group 1 success for trainer Chris Waller, and Very Elegant could be the one to watch for the Cups double in the spring. Plus, there's no showdown tonight, so we thought we'd relive a classic Crows power clash.
With each announcement comes more confusion.
No one is getting off this ship.
Perfect breeding ground for COVID-19.
That's why every night at 7 p.m, The Latest answers all your critical questions.
We drill down into the age groups.
The leading experts.
Completely incorrect advice.
Have immunity for a protracted period of time.
Breaking down what you need to know.
Major breakthrough in the detection.
Michael Usher and Melissa Doyle bring you The Latest every night this week at 7.
Learn the art of quilting with Peter Rabbit. Bring the world of Beatrix Potter into your home. Issue by issue, get everything you need to sew this classic Peter Rabbit quilt. See your skills grow as you sew a beautiful quilt to treasure forever. Peter Rabbit Quilt, issue 1 out now.
Just 5 days remain in the Hospital Research Home Lottery. You could be living in absolute luxury mortgage-free. With over 17,000 prizes, your chances of winning are 1 in 12. Get your tickets today, and thank you for joining the fight.
Ready for any challenge. Battery power, made by Still. Only from your local Still dealer.
Introducing the new GS20 Ultra 5G, Samsung's best 5G phone on Australia's best 5G. Available now with no excess data charges in Australia when you add to any month-to-month mobile plan.
Knock, knock. Want to trade your birthday for a birth week?
Yeah, let's go!
You can go your own way. Go your own way. You can go your own way with 3-ton towing on the 7-seat Isuzu MU-X from just $46,990 drive away.
Right now at Target, get 20% off toys from these big brands like Lego, Nerf, Barbie, Fisher-Price and more. Now on at Target. Offer ends April 26 in selected stores and online. Conditions apply.
What a year he's had.
He had the world at his feet.
The drugs have destroyed him.
As much drugs as I could.
I'll stuff things up royally.
going without your kids?
You miss watching them grow up, moving through the system.
Are you a violent person?
You know, I want there to be carnage. Blood will spill.
This is confronting.
Bang, bang.
Some of it is inexcusable.
Have you used drugs, yes or no?
Well, I'm on the Dexys all the gear. I've told you that.
Brownlow to Garbo.
Without the truck, yep.
Until you walk in our shoes, you don't really understand how hard it is.
Where he wants his life to get to now is not going to be easy.
Yeah, it's been a while. My shoulders prick up and I get excited. It makes me happy.
But I want to see him happy.
I am one of the lucky people.
Trust in the higher power.
And that's got to be enough for me, and it should be enough for other people.
It's time. And I think some good can come from it for everyone.
Welcome back, and the AFL's pay deal with its players has been hailed as offering certainty in uncertain times. But the Players Association is bracing for a brutal cut if there's little or no football played in 2020.
Some think no play, no pay. Players boss Paul Marsh offering up this response, explaining players need to be ready.
Really difficult time at the moment. I think our community benefits from AFL football being played, and right at the moment no one knows if and when we're going to get back on, but assuming we do, I'm sure the fans want our players to be ready to go.
Marsh revealing he's chatted to Lee Matthews after the legend suggested he's lost respect for the current playing group.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to win, you know, in the current times, and we get it. Like, people are absolutely hurting at the moment. Everyone's hurting. The AFL players have taken their part of that as well.
The Players Association has taken its cut. They won't receive funding for the rest of the year. Marsh confirming some players are looking for part-time jobs.
A number of players have already started down that path. In some respects, that'll have some positive benefits too.
Speaking on radio, Gil McLachlan offered a guarantee of sorts to the 18 clubs.
Will all 18 clubs survive what's going on at the moment?
Yeah, they will. I can commit you this. The football, both the community level and the AFL level, with 18 teams and 14 women's teams, we will be coming back on the park at some point.
McLachlan also confirming an emergency loan to save the clubs is close to being finalised. Explained any Victorian finals are likely to be at Marvel, the MCG not available after October 10, and the clubs will have to select draftees sight unseen. The NAB Challenge unlikely to be played this year. Tom Brown, 7 News.
Meanwhile, the NRL is yet to strike a pay deal with its players, and it's been revealed the code has $20 million left, or $42,000 per player if the whole season's called off. In the A-League, an unnamed Newcastle Jets player has tested positive for COVID-19. Despite Adelaide United playing the Jets 13 days ago, the Reds have been told not to self-isolate. The Jets player and his family are in good health, and the rest of the squad and staff are being closely monitored. The master trainer who had so much success with champion Mare Winks now has a genuine Cups contender in the spring. The Chris Waller-trained Very Elegant stormed to a comfortable win in this afternoon's Tancred Stakes at Rosehill, and a Caulfield Melbourne Cup campaign beckons.
Could this be Chris Waller's ticket to Melbourne Cup glory?
Oh, what a mighty performance by Very Elegant. A cheeky peep by James McDonald and a well-earned pat down the neck.
James McDonald producing a patient but perfect ride. Waller's 109th Group 1 victory has him dreaming of bigger things with Very Elegant this spring.
I guess Caulfield Cup would be high on our radar, and even a Melbourne Cup. So let's hope we get weighted as well as some of the other horses from around the world.
Earlier, the Kiwi trainer got in some last-minute track work of his own as those arriving at Rosehill were met with a sign of the times. Bars might be closed across Australia, but that wasn't an omen for Gay Waterhouse in the Vinery Stud Stakes.
Shout the bar in front from Probable and Nudge. Shout the bar goes on to win the Vinery.
Jockey Adam Hieronymus saluting for his first Group 1 win. Waterhouse and Adrian Bott with their third in as many weekends.
To continue riding on for her and get my first Group 1 winner, it's a huge thrill.
While in Bendigo, the Paddy Payne trained Hell of a Street led the Golden Mile from start to finish. Andrew McCormack, 7 News.
Athletes and sport organisations across the globe are doing their bit to help during the coronavirus pandemic. Following multi-million-dollar donations by Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer to their nations, Novak Djokovic pledged a donation of almost $1.8 million for medical equipment in Serbia.
Naša donacija je 1 milion evra za kupovinu respiratora.
And the 7 UK-based Formula One teams have turned their high-tech headquarters into ventilator production factories. England's Australian rugby coach Eddie Jones took a voluntary 25% pay cut, then sent a message to the community to rally behind Boris Johnson just before the UK Prime Minister revealed he had back to 2018 and relived Showdown 44. The Power won by 5 points in a frantic finish. Thanks to Steve Motlop's winning goal, Robbie Gray won his third Showdown medal.
It was pretty emotional for us all that we were able to somehow find a way to win tonight. It showed an enormous courage, I thought.
And the coach made it clear the Crows' 5-game Showdown winning streak was over.
Sick of 0-5, and the team was sick of 0-5. It was a bit too silly, wasn't it, by me? But that's the emotion of this game sometimes. And
I don't know if I've ever been that happy after the siren's gone. It was just that emotion that I felt when that siren went. It's right up there with anything across my footy career, so it's certainly a special one.
It was an ending words just can't describe. You have to see it to believe it. Let's pick it up with a tick over 3 minutes left. The Power leads by 17 points.
And he's gone anyway! He's kicked 2 tonight, Eddie Betts. It's a hesitant kick, but it's straight. And they're not done with yet, the Crows. The belief grows as Lynch takes the mark, and the expectations rise as he drills it to Walker. One thing this year he's doing well is kicking goals. Kicking big goals, just like that. Oh boy, she's on now. Gee, that's a big kick. And the man in front's been paid.
Interesting decision by Wingard.
Dangerous kick, wasn't it? Crouch inserts them again. Oh, we know this man can do it. To give Adelaide back the lead. He has stared that down. The Adelaide Crows have come from absolutely nowhere. 38 seconds, and it goes Adelaide's way, but they're ready. Howard pumps it in. They've got the outnumber. They all crash down. Flashpoint. Stevie Motlop. What a time! Oh! He is floating on air now.
I was just so proud of our boys that we had structure in place for those last 2 plays that they both come off. It's a tough competition, but we have a way that we know works, and that's the key for us. We've got to remind ourselves regularly.
And tomorrow night we'll take a look at Showdown 45, which was also a thriller. And finally, Swans coach John Longmire's practising his team speeches while at home in isolation.
We've got to make sure we chase and tackle, play really strong football from the first bounce. I'm really looking forward to it. I know our fans are as well. I know you guys are jumping out of your skin. Now let's get out there and have a real crack. Come on, let's go, boys.
Good luck at home, Horse. You get more attention at the footy club, let me tell you right
The
now.
feedback wasn't overwhelmingly positive there, was it?
It's just, can you get out of the way, Dad? It's not cool here.
Exactly.
Now, does that mean I won the pizza and beer because that Showdown we
No,
won?
it doesn't, but I've got an idea for our programming department. Let's play the 1997 Crows season, or that season. 1 game per week. We can all pretend that we don't know how it ended. We can do 2004 after that.
We've won a flag this century. Okay.
Thanks, Bruce. Stay with us. Still to come on 7 News. Why coronavirus has cut off one form of pain relief for women giving birth, and an uplifting glimpse of the outback town bringing silo art to life.
Get out of there!
Their world will come crumbling down. New The Good Doctor, Sunday on 7.
How's that for serenity?
Can care be better at home?
Oh, it's sanctuary. Your home's a bit of a sanctuary. Yeah, for me, rehab at home, it gave me a huge amount of flexibility to be able to do the things I wanted to do. It allowed me to unstress and be in the moment in your house in your own comfort zone, which was really good for me and my state of mind.
Search Medibank at Home to see how we're creating better choices for our members.
Just 5 days remain in the Hospital Research Home Lottery. You could be living in absolute luxury mortgage-free. With over 17,000 prizes, your chances of winning are 1 in 12. Get your tickets today and thank you for joining the fight.
For a better way to buy garden power tools, go to your local Stihl dealer and clean up this autumn with Stihl specials on now. Like battery blowers from only $179, grass trimmers from only $199, petrol blowers from only $279, and chainsaws from only $249. Plus a free spare chain with selected models. Stihl tools, only from Stihl dealers. There's 600 nationally. Find yours at stihldealers.com.au. Better Stihl.
Knock, knock. Want to trade your birthday for a birth week?
Yeah, let's go!
Go your own way with 3-ton towing on the Isuzu MU-X from just $46,990 drive away.
Happy birthday!
Today, Dad got me a car for my 18th. Man, I miss him so much.
Help your family's life go on, even after yours. Search Medibank Life Insurance today.
It's tax time. Stimulate your business now. Check your business's eligibility for the government instant asset write-off. Purchases made before June 30. The Ram 1500 pickup truck, eats utes for breakfast.
Chris Hemsworth is a god in an electrifying night. Thor, tonight on 7.
Coronavirus. In the race to respond, 7 News is the one news service separating facts from fear. 7 News is the one place keeping you totally informed, with breaking news and updates throughout the day.
There are 38 new cases, bringing the total to 235.
Your most definitive source to help you prepare.
These cruise ships are a breeding ground for COVID-19.
Turn to 7 News at 6.
Nitrous oxide, a pain relief option offered to women in labour, has been banned across the state's maternity wards amid coronavirus fears. It's one of several changes in our hospitals, prompting anxious mums to consider birthing at home.
For expectant mothers, pregnancy can be an anxious time, but now there's the added pressure of a virus pandemic.
It is definitely sucking a little bit of the joy out of what is supposed to be such a wonderful and positive time.
Like many first-time mums, Charlotte Linklater had signed up for antenatal classes, but in another blow, they too have been shut down because of social distancing rules.
To not be able to have that is, pretty much the icing on the cake.
There's still help available though, with doctors and midwives now sharing information online.
Sometimes mums are still disappointed. They really were craving that interaction with other parents. But that is where we can sort of try and create a little bit of interaction using Zoom or Skype.
Pregnant women are considered at higher risk of contracting COVID-19, but they're not expected to be severely unwell. There's no evidence suggesting that the virus can be passed on to a developing baby, but hospitals aren't taking any chances. Mothers are now only allowed one support person with them during their hospital stay, no visitors. And nitrous oxide, commonly known as the gas, is no longer a pain relief option during labour. It's these changes, but mostly the uncertainty that midwives say has led to a surge in home birth inquiries.
I've seen on quite a number of the social media posts in groups that I'm members of where women are asking about their options for home birth.
We were thinking about a home birth. Now, especially in these times, the more calming, positive energy that I can get, the better.
But health authorities insist there's no need to worry. Gertie Sperling, 7 News.
South Australian towns have embraced silo art with a passion, but now a revolution is looming with the projection of sound and light shows on massive concrete structures scattered across the state. The Flinders Ranges town of Quorn is at the vanguard of this new art form, with testing underway for a show later in the year.
Set against the rolling hills of the majestic Flinders Ranges, these silos have long towered over the heritage railway town of Quorn. These concrete cathedrals to agriculture dot the South Australian landscape, and they often pinpoint the way to the next country town on the open road. They have played a key role in South Australian economic life, storing grain for generations, but now they've been enlisted for more creative purposes. In recent weeks, locals and visitors alike have been treated to a sound and light show with a difference, as the Quorn-based company Illuminart makes the most of what the region's railway and grain-producing history has produced.
The corn silos are very special. The shape is a little bit flatter and they're nestled here in this beautiful Pitchy Ritchie Railway Historic Precinct. To be able to project something that's meaningful to your community onto a landmark that's important in your community is a really beautiful way of making a place come to life.
Illuminat's been running test projections, showcasing the story of corn, but also photographic and artistic contributions by local talent.
Local artists, photographers and image makers, even community groups like schools, will be able to take a role in creating artwork or having their art and photos exhibited on the silos.
You scabs! That's what you are! You're the lowest form of life!
In the future, perhaps, highlights from corn's unique cinematic past may be projected onto an open-air movie screen that takes some beating.
The silos are going to play a very important role in helping people learn about the local heritage here, and actually filmmaking history and South Australian filmmaking is a really significant part of corn and the Flinders Ranges life, and it will be great to see some of those films shown here.
That's in a post-COVID-19 future when life, even in rural SA, returns to some sort of normality. But for now, the test projections are a real hit.
This actually takes silo art to a whole different level.
In what way?
It's just wonderful.
Oh, I think it's great. I think it's going to be something that revolutionises the silos again there, because as I say, yeah, instead of the same old picture, you're getting a variety.
The Illuminat Silo project offers scope to promote big ideas, big stories and some big heads on a massive canvas like no other. For more information on Illuminat, head to our Facebook page. Ron Candelars, 7 News.
Stay with us after the break. Tim will have the latest weather forecast.
Nice and warm today. We're trying to organise a little rain. See how we go in the morning. Best chance later in the week. Details shortly.
There's nothing like the bond between a mum and her son.
I would describe my mother's laugh like a screeching cat.
I didn't even think of that.
How do you repay a lifetime of love?
I'm here for Mum.
House Rules will give him the chance.
It's the first time I can give back to my family for everything they've done for me in my life, and we're going to try as hard as we can.
Yeah. Finished. Oh, wow. How was that? I've never built a timber wall before.
Oh, my gosh. She's done nearly half the wall already.
An everyday mum will discover the hero inside of her.
I'm just your ordinary plain Jane.
I wouldn't call you ordinary.
House Rules, it is the most amazing opportunity. I just appreciate it so much. I'm going to definitely go back a different person, and I'm so grateful for that.
New House Rules, high stakes, only on 7. It's here, next Sunday at 7.
Definitely.
Wow. Yes. I'll have a slice of that.
Get in my mouth, please.
This year, one builder won South Australia's Most Professional Builder Award for the 6th time, and also won South Australia's Reader's Choice Award voted by the public for the 5th time, as well as being named South Australia's top building brand for consumers by productreview.com.au. That builder? Metricon, building award-winning homes so you can truly love where you live.
The last time we did this, the place went nuts!
Burns for Blinds massive 5-day sale.
5 days, 500 blinds saved to 50%. Indoor blinds, outdoor blinds, cafe blinds, roller shutters and security doors.
Burns for Blinds massive save to 50% sale.
People are saving a fortune on their blinds. These aren't just any blinds.
These are quality Burns for Blinds. Nobody beats Burns for Blinds.
Save to 50% sale. Phone Burns for Blinds now.
If your car got hit by hail, that could be 100% disastrous. Or if your home got storm damage, that could be 100% devastating. So it's reassuring to know QBE Insurance is 100% committed to helping you. Call 133 QBE today.
Definitely.
Wow. Yes. I'll have a slice of that.
Get in my mouth, please.
As the day breaks,
we have new developments and facts in the coronavirus crisis.
The news breaks on Sunrise.
Calls for global collaboration.
It's where you'll know what's unfolding.
We're expecting in coming days we'll go to the next stage.
Breaking news now.
When the questions that matter are asked.
Shouldn't the Prime Minister step in?
What's happening from those protecting us on the front line?
Thank you to our healthcare heroes.
The team Australia trusts are on Sunrise.
Get breaking news for Adelaide and South Australia on our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. For news as it happens, join 7 News Adelaide on social media.
To the weather now, and Tim Noonan, we had a warm one today.
Outside, it was a cracker of a day, just over 30 degrees. Still most of that now, a little out of the ordinary for late March, though we're getting used to out of the ordinary this year. Pretty warm through the night too. The low of 14.9 was before midnight. Now, it was warm around the state, pushing 30 degrees, even a little warmer in the north and west of SA. Dry northerlies gently nudge the temperatures up. We're trying for a little change up tomorrow to make things a bit easier to comply with that stay-at-home message. Just the chance of a shower as a week change comes through. Sorry, best we could do at short notice. We will have probably more luck later in the week. Now, the eastern capitals have got the idea. Wouldn't have that map have been much more welcome back in January. Wet and mid-20s seems to be the way of the day there. It'll remain warm and sunny in the north of SA, but a change in the south. It'll be cooler and there is the chance of rain, even a thunderstorm over the farms and extending up just to the edge of the pastorals, but showers most likely in the southeast. East, not a deluge mind you, certainly more cloudy and lots of mid-20s in the mix there and cooler after the change. One wind warning for the lower southeast coast. Mostly westerlies up to 20 knots on metro waters, seas increasing to 1.5 metres as the change passes through. And in town, just the chance of a shower and even a thunderstorm. The range 20 to 25, cloudier and cooler than today. That is a stay-at-home day. Mostly, so the wind will give it a bit of a nudge too. You'll notice that mostly in the southern suburbs and the hills. And then a cool autumn week to see out March. There's the chance of a shower midweek. Not much in it though. The best chance is going to be Friday and into the weekend. That 24 on Friday is therefore the change. It'll be cooler after. 18 the top for Saturday. Cold and wet. It's the least we can do, right? What you call inside weather. Enjoy it in the spirit in which it's intended. Jess?
Good advice. Thanks, Tim. And that's all the news to now. Stay tuned for the latest, and I'll have the next local bulletin at 10:30. Until then, good night.